Topic for today is financial projection and scenario analysis by Wilson Izekor. So we collaborate with Financial Modeling Institute, FMI, and MHS. So FMI is the most respected accreditation institute in financial modeling. They provide accreditation for advanced financial modeler, chartered financial modeler level 2, and master financial modeler level 3. So MHS, on the other hand, is a high quality provider of data analytics services to companies and high value professionals. They specialize in delivering financial modeling services, BI solution, and Excel report automation. They are committed to giving their clients the business intelligence edge they need using tools they already have. They are based in Canada. Okay. UrBizEdge, on the other hand, is a business intelligence institute that is focused on training professionals in business intelligence, Excel, and big data. We have a webinar coming up next week on Tuesday called In-Depth Excel Training, Executive Dashboards, and Business Data Analysis at Abuja. Today we'll be welcoming Wilson Izekor, who is going to be taking us on financial modeling. He's a chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, that's ICANN. He's a seasoned financial modeling facilitator with over 3 years of experience. Some of the skills he has includes financial modeling and valuation, training and facilitation, financial analysis and accounting, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Power BI, and the whole Office 365 package. He has developed a couple of financial models in the past for various indigenous businesses as well as global businesses. For example, Eat and Go. He currently serves as the General Manager, Corporate Finance at Meritcom. Please, let's welcome Wilson Izekor as he starts with us, as it takes up the webinar from here. Wilson, please, you're welcome. Once again, he's taking us on financial projection and scenario analysis. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for that brief introduction. I appreciate it. All right, so I will share my screen right away. So you're welcome, everyone, once again to the webinar. Just give me a few seconds. Let me share my screen so we can all be on the same page. Okay, just a few seconds, please. All right, can you see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Tolu, can you
see your screen?
It's actually coming up here. Yeah,
I
okay.
see it.
Okay.
If my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes,
on my
can you? Okay. All right, thank you. All right, so I will start straight away. Now, the sheet I'm sharing actually has two cases. Okay, so one of the cases is the 3S model case, and then the other one is just the projected IS, where we'll still apply the same scenario analysis and walk us through scenario manager, the use of the scenario manager. All right, so this first one This is so what we're doing is yes, can someone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. All right, so that's where we're going to start from. All right, so I'm going to take out some of these how to show you how this is actually built up. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, so never mind the value error that you have. So once we get it fixed, everything will be sorted. All right, so the starting point is to come to this switch. So you can see there's a switch here. So this switch is actually the driver of the financial model, right? So the model itself is here. So it's an integrated model where we have the income statement, the statement of financial position, and then the statement of cash flow. We need to take it dynamic. The dynamism comes in when we apply a juice function. With that switch, we can be able to the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. All right. So what we have to do here is, because the choose function work with index, okay, it works with an index number. So index number needs to be referenced in order for us to be able to achieve this. All right, so what we're going to do here is to use an if function to return an index number here. So if we use an if function, we say if, all right, so this if function is going to reference what we have on the drop down, what we're going to create here on the drop down. So there's a drop down that we're going to have here. Maybe we should create the drop down first. So let's have the drop down first. So if we want to create the drop down, you can just put a border here. It's just a data validation drop down. So where we go to pick data validation, and then you select list. So just come here and select list. Now you have to check the data source, right? So check on the data source, please, and then go to the switch and then pick the data source. So just select all that you have here. So by that, you've already created your drop down. So you can centralize that. Okay. So after doing that, your switch will not respond yet. Okay, this will not respond because you have to include the choose function to be able to do that. So you, what I've simply done here is to link this. This is very straightforward. Just link it to this cell L13. So this particular column is the driver of the projection. This is the driver of the projection. This is what will drive your forecast, right? But we need to be able to write a function that will select, based on the selection we've made here, that will be able to choose between the best case and the worst case. Now, when you're making assumption, the first level assumption that you arrive at is the base case assumption. So without you tweaking it, making it a best possible scenario, a worst possible scenario. So the initial assumptions are the base case assumptions, and that's what we have here. So after creating this drop down, all you need to do is go back to the switch and then include your index. Okay, you need to include an index number here, and you can do that with the nested if function. Okay, so all you need to do is to say if. Now the logical test for the nested if function, for the logical test. Now, can someone still hear me? I need to ask so I will know that I'm communicating. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So
We can hear you loud and clear. Go on.
Okay. So I come back to the 3S and then I say if what I have here is a base case, if what I have here is a base case, sorry. So if what I have there is a base case, what I'm going to return, what Excel will return for me is 1. Otherwise, if what I have here is a worst case, it's a best case. So the reason why I'm not typing worst case, I'm putting a best case is because I want you to follow the order that I have it here. You can say I have base case first, I have best, and I have worst. So if what I have here is a worst case, okay, I want Excel to return 2. Otherwise, that will be the last case, right? So otherwise, I want Excel to return 3. Right? So we can close this and close this again. So you have to close Continue closing the bracket until it shows you a black bracket. That shows that you fully close everything that you need to close. Okay, so you can see that the index number here is 2. So as you are changing your cases here, you can see it's going to be reflecting. It's going to be reflecting. Now this is not all. This is not all. So you can see that immediately we did that, all of the value errors disappeared because something, a real value, what will take out those value errors, was sorted with the use of that choose function. But that's not where we'll end it. So now we need to write our choose function. What we did just now is to include the nested if function to bring in the index. So we need to write our choose function. So our choose function will make a selection of the scenarios, right? So first is the index. Now, when you are referencing the index, you need to go back to your switch and then pick the index you have here, okay? Comma. Then you have your value 1, okay? You have your value 1. So for your value 1, you need to go back to your 3S. Now, 3S means 3 statements model. That's what 3S is, okay? Which is the income statement, the statement of financial position, and the statement of cash flows. Okay. So you need to pick this, okay? Just say comma, pick this, comma, and then pick K. That will be K14. Okay, I'll just pick it because I want you to reference that. All right, so, and then I'll close it. So what I have to do is to come and fix this. So it's going to be an absolute reference. So this one is going to be an absolute reference. Okay, and then you press enter. So you can just take this down, okay? Or I can highlight everything, go to the formula bar and press Control and enter. So that solves it. So what we've simply done here is to make the financial statement dynamic. As you can see, if I come here and I choose my base case, okay, everything here changes to base case, right? Sorry, including what we have here. So it's still the same thing. The same thing still applies. Just that I didn't apply the formula here, but it's still the same formula. So you can as well just copy this and paste it across. So you can see what we have here. Now, this particular column is what is driving the projection that we have here. So you can see the projection. Let me just scroll down to where we have our, there's a chart that is included here. Now, all of this stuff that we have here are linked to the income statement. So it's just a section of the charts and graphs that we have there. So the income statement, the statement of financial position, the statement of cash flows automatically linked, okay? And then we have the supporting schedules. So the supporting schedules are the working capital schedule, the depreciation schedule, and then the debt and interest schedule. So the basic mechanics of building a scenario, because the primary essence of this lecture is to run us through the method of using the choose function to create a dynamic financial model that responds to scenarios. So, and the scenarios we have selected here are base case scenario, worst case scenario, and best case scenarios. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you have any question as regards this aspect or from this angle. Before I move to the next case. Do we have a question? Is there anyone with a question? Do we have any area, any gray area we don't understand, or how this was applied? Hello, can someone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I can see Ola Dimeji's hands up. So, do you have a question?
Yes, a question.
Yes,
Okay.
because we have ended the first session, so I need some questions. So to be sure that we understand is understood here.
Okay.
All right, you can go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, can you repeat how you did the scenario using the if? Can you repeat that, please?
How I did the what?
The scenario base, and the if function. What is this?
Okay. So for the scenario, I explained that the choose function is used. Okay, I used the choose function. Now the three cases that we have here are three the three scenarios. Okay, the base case assumption, the best case assumption, and the worst case assumption. Now the choose function is now used to make a selection between these three, right? And how was it built? You have to create another column, another sheet. You can have another sheet where you basically list out the base, best, and worst case, and then you give it a number, because choose function only recognizes number, the index number in the choose function. You know, it has to be a number, not a text. Do you understand? So you can call your base case 1, your best case 2. There are no formulas here. They are hard-coded numbers, right? So then you have a cell where you create your index. You call it the index cell. And then you use a nested if function, okay? You use a nested if function to make a selection. The nested if function, that is, you have an if function inside another if function, okay? So this is the function here. It's a very simple function, right? So it just says that if you have what you have in the logical cell, sorry, what you have in the 3S model, if what you have here is, and you know, when you are writing a text in the formula, it has to be in quotation. So if what you have there is a base case, okay, then the result will be 1. That's the logical test. Otherwise, if it is what you have here, click it again. If what you have here is a best case, the result should be 2. Otherwise, the result should be 3, because that's the last condition. And then you close the bracket. Close the bracket again. Okay? So that's what you have. You have to close the bracket until the closing bracket is black. That's the rule. Once it's black, just know that you have closed all the bracket that you opened. So that's how this was gotten. Now, what happened next is we need to write a choose function here. So the choose function is what will make a selection between these 3 cases, and we return the results here. So it's not just here alone. You have to do it for the capex assumption, and then you do it for the debt and equity assumptions. Okay. So once you do that, all you need to do is all the projection that we have here. I don't want to run through all of this because of our time, and I expect that, okay, the point I want us to get very clear here is the use of that choose function and the scenario manager to be able to run scenarios. But if you look at the projection, you can see one thing. You can see is that all the forecasting factors are linked to the switch. Okay, because this is basically what drives the model, right? So you can see the inflation applied, everything, they are linked up to, all of them are linked up to the switch. So it's just with a growth factor. You can see a growth formula was applied here on salaries, and then it is linked to the switch. So that's how it is done. Then ultimately, we know that for us to balance our cash, our projected balance sheet, we need to make reference to the cash and cash equivalent, the closing balance of our cash and cash equivalents in the cash flow. That's what comes here. So that's ultimate. This is very key when it comes to financial projection. This is very key. If you look at the cash and cash equivalent, so that's important. All right. I hope that answers the question. Okay. So if that is, if there are no more questions, I think we can go to the second sheet. Now, for this second sheet, what we have done here, remember that I would like to tell you the difference. Now, when you're doing your scenarios, you can do your scenarios on a case-by-case, on a line-by-line basis. And that's exactly what we've done here. What we've done here is that we've been able to show the lines of the income statement, and then we have each of these cases. So you can, at any point in time, you can change any of these assumptions. And when you select, make a selection in the drop down, it reflects in the switch, and then it changes your model. It changes your projection, your financial projection. All right. Now, another thing that can be done is in some models, you can see scenarios applied globally. Okay, so globally it changes the entire financial statement, but this has been made simplified. I've made it simplified by just showing the income statement, right? But the bottom line is we need to understand how the scenarios is how the scenario analysis is applied using the choose function. So what has been done here is similar to what we did before. If you didn't get it the first time, I mean, you can get it. Maybe you can get it this time around. So just let us pay attention. Now this is a drop down. This drop down has already been created from here. All right. And how was the drop down created? So this is kind of, instead of having it in separate sheet, everything that we need to apply to create the scenario have been included in one sheet. In practice, it's not, you won't do this in practice. You have to, like here, the switch sheet will be hidden in practice. So all you need to do is to see the 3S model, you see your, whatever thing that is working at the background will be hidden, okay? But it's just for the purpose of this lecture. That's why I have to make sure everything is exposed like this. All right. Okay, so what we do here is to create a drop down. So let's run it through again very fast. So what we do is to create a drop down. You go to data and then you go to your drop down list, right? Click on list and then click on the source, select all that you have here and then click OK. So that's the first thing you do to ensure that it shows here. Now the next thing you do is to work out your index number. And how do you work out your index number? It's simple. Just say if what you have here is similar to what we've done before, equals now base case. Ensure you have it in quotation. Sorry. So base case, that will give you 1. Otherwise, if what you have here equals best case, that will give you 2. Then otherwise it gives you 3. So you can see it's very straightforward. All right. So automatically, what you have here then, the choose function. So I'm writing the choose function. That will be choose. Sorry, that will be choose. So what are you choosing? You can't choose this because this is a text. You have to choose this, which is the index. Okay, choose value 1. We give you what you have here. Value 2, this, and value 3 will be this, and then you close it. Then you absolute this because you are going to be moving down the formula and you don't want it to change. So all you need to do is just copy, paste it where you have all the assumptions to be applied, and that's all. So the moment you change this, you expect that the switch will change and then the forecast will change. Okay, now yes, so if there are no further questions, this is similar. The only difference between this, what we have done here and what we did here, is that this one is applied on a line by line basis, while this one is global. All right. But ideally, this is more realistic for your projection when you apply on a case by case basis and when you do a global. All right. So now let's go to scenario manager. If there is no more question, we'll go to scenario manager. Now, can I be heard? Am I still communicating?
Sure.
All right. So for the scenario manager is one of the Excel functions under the what if analysis family. So under what if analysis, we have the scenario manager, we have the goal seek, and then we have data table. All right. So the scenario manager is used for scenarios. Okay. So to analyze scenarios, which is similar to what we're doing, but you can actually, there's a way you can actually use Excel to manage your scenarios. So you can input your best case, worst case stuff there, and then at any point in time you can go there to edit, and then you have a scenario summary. So the scenario summary often comes as how will I put it now? It comes as a table. Excel do some background analysis and then present you with a table that you can use in your reports. All right. So now how do you do that? So you come here under the what if analysis and then select your scenario manager. Okay. So now you see the scenario manager Okay, so here you see the scenario manager dialog box. Okay, so all you need to do is you come and then you add scenarios, right? So when you add scenarios, you name your scenario. You have to give it a scenario name. Okay, so best case. So now the first changes cell, the changes cell that you pick, the changes cells that you pick at first, which is the current changing cells, is what Excel is going to take as your current values when it's doing the calculation. You understand? But you need to change that cell. By the time you click OK, you need to change that cell to reflect the best case assumptions. Then you repeat that process again for the worst case assumptions, after which you pick your scenario summary and then you run the analysis. All right. So now in this case, I'm going to select here, which is the base case. So first of all, let's ensure that, sorry, let me do this. Let me put it in the base case assumptions. So I have my scenario manager. So then I have my best case. And then I go to my changing cells and then I pick my case first. So never mind, just pick this. So pick this, because Excel is going to take the current value, run this analysis as base case. So even though you have selected this there, but Excel is going to recognize what you have chosen and recognize it as a current value when it's running the analysis. So you can click on OK. And then you have your enter values for each of the changes scenarios. So the first one is based on what we have selected. What we did earlier is a best case stuff. Okay, so 10% is 0.1, 10% is 0.1, 1% is 0.01, another 0.01, another 0.01. So just this is just a very, has been made simple for the purpose of this analysis. And then you click on OK. So that's the first level. The second level is to add again, and then you have your worst case. So you have your worst case. Then change it to the worst case assumption. You have 2% to be 0.02, 0.05, another 0.05, another 0.06, then 0.04. Okay, and then you click OK. So lastly, you go to your scenario summary, and then what the scenario summary is your performance metric. So that's the output you need to assess based on these assumptions. Or it is EBITDA. We need to see the impact of all of these scenarios on the EBITDA. So that's why the EBITDA is selected here. I've done it before. So that's why it's coming as a default selection, but you can always change it, select it any point in time. So once that is done, just click on OK. So Excel runs the scenario for you and then present you with a scenario result. So this is done. You can see this is automatic, right? So all you need to do is just replace this one with the EBITDA, then replace all of these absolute numbers with the that's how. Yes, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. All right. So that's how the scenario manager is being run. That's how you run the scenario manager. So something like this is what you can see. The essence of this is it just tells you under the different assumptions, under the different scenarios, what the performance metric, what the results will look like. You can see we have 78.47. We also have 78.47 under the base case. Under the best case, under the worst case, you also see these different results. So that's what it does. Now, do we have a question?
Plenty questions, sir. Sorry, I just joined though. I'm so sorry. But the good thing is I know how to use Goal Seek. I've actually used the scenario manager once a couple of times. But it will be good to just look at this scenario and relearn. Just rush through it again. Sorry, class. Sorry, Michael. I beg.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What's the question?
No, the question is you can just run through it in 3 minutes. Just talk through, don't impute any data.
Okay, I should run through the scenario manager again.
Sorry, sir. Please, sir.
I can't. You said I should run through the scenario manager again.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Okay. Okay, what I said about the scenario manager is it does similar thing to what it does the same thing with what the choose function will do for you, but it's just that in some instances when you are doing your analysis, you need to present the scenario in form of a table for people to see, something like that. You must have seen something like this in the report before. Do you understand? So that's what it does. So I'm saying to run your scenario manager, we have used this simple case to illustrate. Go to your data and then go to your what if analysis, select scenario manager. Okay, so this has been created before. Do you understand? Now the way it works is any value you will select, make sure that your scenario is at the base case level. That's the first thing you must ensure. Do you understand? Then the initial value you select, that's where it gets confusing. Ensure that the initial value you want to select is a base case assumptions in values, because that is ultimately what Excel will return as the current value before considering best case and worst case. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So that's why when I click this place, I didn't name this one as base case. Okay, I named it as best case. Okay, and then I said, okay, what am I changing cells? Changing cells are the base case changing cells. This assumption here. Then if I click on OK, then I'll then enter values for each of the changing cells. I don't need to pick this one again because once I run the scenario, the initial cell I've created is automatic. Excel will recognize as current value and then it will return the value for me. So I need to rename this forecasting factor to reflect the best case. I need to edit it, edit it. So 10%, 1%. So I'm just putting the decimals. 1, and then which one again? And then 1. So please pick the worst and pick cells. You have 2, you have 5, other 5, you have 6, and then you have 4. Then finally go to your summary and select the performance metric. The only impact you want to see is on EBITDA. So select it, it's already selected here. And then click OK. Then it runs. It's very straightforward. It's not.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Okay, so thank you very much. If there are no more questions.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the great session, Wilson. I don't know if anyone has any question. And if they are not, I'll have a question for you, Wilson.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, how did you... Sorry. My question is, what's your advice on...
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay. Okay, my question is, how did you start out in your financial modeling career? Can you just give us like a brief story behind it and how it all began?
Okay, yeah, I started off while I was working as an account officer then in Helpplus. I worked in Helpplus for most of my experience. help us as an account executive. So I was reporting directly to the financial reporting manager, and in most cases I used to look at him when he's working with Excel, preparing management account reports, and all of that. So at the point when he left or when he resigned, I was handling the month-end report, right? So basically, month-end reporting is a reporting model. It's not really financial projection. But at some point, I was also involved in doing some strategic things. You know, I was involved in preparing the yearly budget. I was doing financial projections basically. You know, reporting to I think at that point reporting to the CFO before we got another financial reporting manager. So most of my experience had been on the job, basically on the job experience, coupled with the fact that I did some other training as well, but I can say predominantly 85% is on the job, and also my personal effort in reading books. I'm a lover of knowledge. That's why I appreciated this when I was called that I should come and share my knowledge with people. So because once if you are sharing your knowledge as well, you learn more, and you tend to be challenged and study more. You understand? So I have personal books I download, I go online, look at what people are doing now, and I can get better. So basically, it's just self-development. It's attributed to personal self-development. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. So, what advice would you give to someone who is like starting out in this career path?
Yes, someone who is what?
For someone who is just starting out in this career path of financial modeling and the rest.
Yes, go for training. Go for training. I would advise go for training to fast track it.
Okay.
Someone who is just starting, I advise go for training. For someone who is not also starting, also still go for training. You understand?
Okay.
Actually, training helps a lot as well. It helps you, it fast track the pace of learning. It fast track the. So that's what I would advise.
Okay.
Go for training because the benefit is far outweigh the cost.
Thank you so much for that, Wilson. Thank you for the beautiful session you had with us.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah. I don't know if there are any more questions that we would like to ask before we go.
Okay, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Are there, Mr. Michael, are there any sites you can recommend or any books outside the training that can help one deepen his knowledge in financial modeling?
I guess you meant Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson, the question is for you. Michael is the host or part of the organizers.
Okay.
Mr. Michael, sorry.
Okay, is it Mr. Michael or Mr. Wilson? Who?
Is
the host,
Mr.
whoever is doing, sorry, apologies, please.
Okay.
The facilitator, please.
The facilitator, okay. All right. Yeah, there are materials online that can help. You can go online. I think if you have heard of for your Excel skills, if you have heard of Mr. Excel, it's Mr. Excel. So it's very good, very good. I think the guy has a lot of publications and all that. You can. Excel King or something. So that's very Hello, can you hear me? Hello,
We
can
can
you
hear
hear
It's
me?
you.
breaking. It's
Yes,
breaking.
but it was breaking.
It's
Yes,
breaking.
yeah, that too, yes, that too is very good. It's very good. So you can check online too. I think Excel King or so. I'm not too sure of that name, but something like that. You know. Then you can go on if you have anything at all, anything you don't understand or any video, you can check on YouTube, check on there are different sources. The fact is that knowledge now is almost everywhere. Do you get knowledge is almost everywhere?
Hello. Who is speaking?
There's a question I've also put in the chat box, or should I
Yes.
ask it out loud?
I think you can ask it out loud.
Okay. So, Mr. Wilson, just to ask, there are not everybody is quite
You're learning.
fortunate. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I understand. Yes,
Okay, so not
I understand.
okay, not everybody is quite fortunate to be able to learn and apply it at work. Maybe some people are trying to do a career change, or it might be that they even have finance and this background, but unfortunately, they are not in a job role that requires them to do anything more than posting of transactions and maybe just, general Excel reporting and nothing so much on the finance or strategic finance side. So how can they, creatively practice, what they are learning? And because I'm sure if they are not practicing it on the real world data, their confidence level and even ability to use it is probably going to be not good. So how do you advise that they can get that real world knowledge and experience if their current job does not require them to put to practice what they have learned?
Wow, okay, that's a tough one. I would say it's a tough one because you have to reach a compromise. You understand? At a point in time in one's career, you have to choose between: do I want more money or do I want experience? You understand? So there must be a trade-off. You cannot eat your cake and have it. Now, what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is, you have to make a decision, right? There are some job roles that you apply, you see the job function. You can even apply as an intern. You can take a lower position than what you are currently doing. You understand? Now, you know what you want to achieve in mind. What you want to achieve is you actually want to get to that position or to that office where you can apply your knowledge. Okay, and there's nothing like applied knowledge. Okay, so to answer your question straight to the point is, I will also put it to that person: are you willing to apply, are you willing to get a job that pays lower, sacrificing your higher income for a lower pay just for you to get a practical experience of your skills? That's the question. So if the answer is yes, then good to go, you are good to go. If the answer is no, then you still remain at where you are, earning the bigger salary. But ultimately, the move in the sense that if you make the decision of taking up a job, even though you have a lower pay, because that's the easiest route, that's the easiest route. You just need to, sometimes one just needs to lower his shoulders and take up a role that is not well paying, but you know that you're going to apply. I'll give you a good example. Say you want to delve into FP&A, for example. You want to delve into FP&A. Probably you've been working as an internal auditor. Internal audit, I'm not belittling any profession. Every line in finance has its own peculiarity. Are you getting me? They also do analysis and all of that. But you cannot compare the level of analytics, of financial modeling skills and everything of an FP&A person with a typical internal auditor, to be realistic. Now, if you want to delve into FP&A, Okay, if you want to delve into FP&A, you know you are taking up a role or a career that is entirely different from what you are known for or what you've been doing. You understand? You need to pay that price. Sometimes most times it comes at a cost. Do you understand? You just have to lower down your ego and just take up a role, even though it's not well paying in quotes. But ultimately, you know what you want to achieve. So you can just do that for some couple of years. You can even take up a role with a consulting firm. Okay, you can have consulting firm that do training, that do all of these things. You take up a role there, and then from there, maybe you do a couple of training with them. You know, you start doing, just do some kind of freelance job, basically. I mean, that would be the easiest route, but it comes at a cost.
Thank you very much. Another question. Though someone is asking if we can share your contact. What are you more comfortable with? Should we share your LinkedIn? Should we, so that, or what are you okay with? I think if I read exactly his question, so Mr. Benedict said, can we get your number or email, so that I read it exactly as he has said it?
Okay, sure, no problem. You can get my email. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can get my contact. It's not an issue. But you can always connect with me on LinkedIn. Just chat me up on LinkedIn. I think that will be fine.
Okay. So I think
just
taking down your or one of my team members, if you can help me share his LinkedIn in the chat box, so that everybody who is
I'll
here
do that right away.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
So the other question that I have is, every time this conversation keeps coming up that for the regular data analysts 7 years, 8 years ago, it was just Excel. Excel was like the 80% of what everybody expected to be technically skilled on. Maybe a little SQL, but Excel was enough to get you career growth and even job, and the max, you go for VB and you're like, you are set in that career path. But now Excel is like maybe even 40%. Everybody's expecting you to have maybe another BI, Power BI, Tableau, and SQL for you to do the same thing that someone 8 years ago was doing with just his Excel on CV. But in the financial modeling space, Excel is still dominant. Everybody still expects to see a model that is built in Excel. Everybody still expects that whatever you do is housed almost entirely in Excel. The max is maybe you are doing a pitch deck in PowerPoint, which is not really, it's like an add-on. So I want to ask you, what do you think will be 8 years from now in our financial modeling space? Will it still be Excel, or once you start preparing to add one or two other tools that might become required or expected that one has knowledge, skills in? That's my question.
Yes, that's a beautiful question. It's a brilliant question. In fact, this is a question that should be on the space of all platforms where trainings are being done and all of that. I think it's a good question because the world is changing, right? So everything is changing, even at a faster pace. Right? But I would say that Excel still remains. If you look at history, you take a look at history, okay? Right from the very first version of Excel up till now, you will see that Excel is one software that has remained dominant and that has passed the test of time, regardless of what or anything. Statistics has it that out of all the analytics tools, Excel still remains the most robust. And if you look at it, it has actually stand the test of time, So I would say Excel has come to stay. Okay, the entire world financial system and everything lies on the shoulder of Excel. That is the truth, whether we like it or not. You understand? So it's good if one keep on developing him or herself within the space of Excel as it evolves, right? So one thing I advise people is keep on updating yourself, updating your skill. Try as much as possible to get the latest Excel version. Of which, of course, if you are conversant with Office 365, it's real time, and whenever there is an update, you get it straight up. Now, besides that, also one needs to recognize the fact that the world is changing, the future is changing, all right? And the way we see financial modeling to, or we do financial modeling to, will also change. Okay, so even though we said that Excel is ever changing and Excel will remain and will continue to remain, one also needs to update him or herself with other skills, other skill areas. Okay, I will make mention of skills like SQL, like Python, you know, which is a programming, a high-level programming language. All right. So, and most especially, now when you are doing all of this, ensure you streamline it to finance. It's not enough for you to learn other skills without streamlining it to finance. So that one will not be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Okay. So apart from looking into Excel, it's also good as finance professionals or as financial modelers. We also look at other emerging areas. Okay, which is looking at SQL, looking at, you can look at Python, application of Python to finance or modeling. That's an area that is also very, very good. And I think for most of us in this part of the world, we are not really focusing on that area. We are not really delving into that. Everybody just thinks Excel. But if you really take a look at it on the global space, you will see that everything is changing. The world is changing. Artificial intelligence, everything is taking over things, and Python, SQL, programming languages, So I think for us, in most cases, if you look at experts in financial models, we'll delve more into Excel, go deeper into Excel, like looking at VBA, for instance. We have not really harnessed other areas, especially when it comes to application of those skills into finance. We've not. So that's why you see somebody who is a finance professional and you find yourself in the UK, you see that your skill or your knowledge is almost zero, because the level of analytics and all of that they are doing over there is very, very. I have someone who traveled to the UK, and the person that called me and said, "Okay, see, so thing, the way things are done here, it's not the way it's done in Nigeria. So I need to update this, I need to update that." I had to tell the lady, okay, fine, because she was telling me that she just needs additional knowledge because their requirement there is far above what she needs. She was telling me she needs knowledge in Python, she needs knowledge in SQL. That Excel is just even a starting point. She thinks she was like, she felt she knows it all, but when she got there, it was a different game entirely. So the world is fast changing. It's just because of our own level. I don't know. So that's my response.
Thank you very much. Over to you to do our moderator.
Okay, thank you so much for the session and even the answers to all the questions we had. So I have one more question. Would you be able to make this sheet available for some of us? I saw that someone asked a question about that.
No problem. It's fine. It's fine.
So I'll find a way to share it with you.
No problem. That's fine. It's fine.
All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I've come across vacancies and even scholarships that ask that they want to have access or they want to see like a portfolio of probably projects that I've done in the past or something that relate to that particular vacancy. Okay, in this case now, they're talking of FP&A building models. So they want to see, yes, like a portfolio of models that I've done in the past. Maybe not so much, maybe 2 or 3 or thereabout. So I want to ask, when it comes to like building like a portfolio where I've done projects and stuff, so how do I go about that? I'm looking at, okay, probably having access to case studies. Do we have like a bank or a knowledge bank or something where they have like case studies so I can go there, pick them up and actually start, having a kind of, a storage where I keep like projects I've done in the past. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, I think looking at, to answer your question, I think that's one of the That's one of the gaps in training. I mean, that's one of the gaps in the training industry, okay, which I think needs to be closed. Why do I say that? I say that because when you look at people who go for trainings, right, they are going for training with the essence of they have one thing in mind. Okay, how can I apply my knowledge? It's not like ICANN class or is university a school where you just go and you learn some theoretical stuff and without having it applied immediately on the job. So the job market or employers require those who can apply skills, who have applied knowledge or applied skills. It's not just you presenting certificate. That's why skills like financial modeling is not just about your certificate, it's about what you can do. Now, I think to answer your question straight to the point is, I think training centers or institutes needs to have a scenario-based training. What I mean is you need to have students, or they need to have students perform models that are obtainable in practice. I must tell you the truth. Practicing financial modeling or in real practice, in most cases, it's different from the simplicity you see in classrooms, right? You may think you know financial model, but when it comes to real practice, it's a different ballgame entirely. So now, in the absence of that gap in training centers or training institutes, what you can also do as a person is after your training, if it is to take up a freelance, I still mention if you take up a freelance, do a freelance job, maybe with a consulting firm, maybe with someone who is into that field already and who has some jobs to do. Like, for instance, sometimes I do get project for startups.
Listen, if you know them, please connect us. It's not just everywhere like that.
No. What I'm saying is they are there. You understand what I'm saying? If you make yourself available, what I mean by make yourself available is be prepared. Just like Boy Scouts, you say be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared is if you say you want to do something, are you prepared for it? What I'm saying, what training have you gone? What skills do you have? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is the first thing. It's not really about whether they are available or not. It's whether you have the skill to deliver. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the most important thing. That's why skills like this is not just about certificates. It's about you. Do you have the skill to deliver, the ability to deliver? I'm telling you, if you have the skill to deliver, the ability to deliver, are you able to do a job once and then you deliver a good product, a good service, you will be called again. That's the truth. So it's not about whether they are available, it's about you. Are you ready? Are you available? Do you have the skill? If you are presented with the opportunity, will you be able to deliver? That's the question. So it is you first before the employer. All right.
Okay. Thank you for that, Spence.
Okay.
Yes.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if maybe I can just make a little contribution in addition to what Mr. Michael just said.
Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Okay. So for that person that asked that question, I think that's a very nice question. From what Mr. Michael said, there is actually a gap. There's a gap between classroom and what they call the real life scenario. Most summer classes, they won't, the simplicity is just there, you understand. They won't actually give you a live case scenario of what you're going to see when you start modeling. And that is one of the faults of all these training classes. So what I'm going to just say here is that if you truly want to practice, or perfect your financial modeling skills, you need to challenge yourself. So you don't need to be looking for data banks or financial modeling and case studies by institutes or whatever. Take the real day, go for the real day, and the real day is looking for the financial statement of a company. You don't need to go for you don't need to go for a company that it's very rigorous, that the line items are difficult to understand. You can start from a simple industry, for instance. You can go for hospitality, hotels. Their items are so very simple. I mean, the line items are easy to understand. So you can start from there and try to apply your skills. So you can start from that place and try to apply your skills and then see how it goes. Instead of looking for case studies, because case studies, honestly, I would say they are just too simple, you understand. If I me myself, I've gone for some trainings of financial modeling, and when I move into real life, it's like a different ball game because you begin to see some certain items and then you begin to get together, be like, how do I do this one? How do I forecast for this one? And that becomes a challenge. So what I'm just trying to say is that once you're looking to make that impact, perfect that skills, you need to just challenge yourself. You've learned so many things from your class, from your training, and those things are actually applicable to the real life. So you just need to just go for the reading, look for a financial statement of any company at all. Just start. I would advise you to start from maybe the hospitality industry, hotels, or maybe you start from the FMCG company. Just look for any small company and then start small there. Then try to apply your skills and see how it goes. Okay, so that's all for now.
All right. Thank you.
It's Mr. Wilson. No, Mr. Michael is not the presenter.
Oh, I'm sorry, please. Sorry, please.
Yeah, but I understand. And
Thank
then
you, sir.
thanks. I just want to say that we used to do a mock exam series for people, and because this is the thing I tell people in financial modeling is sometimes people want to come for training. Say, yeah, I want to do beginner, I want to do intermediate, I want to do advanced. I tell them that financial modeling does not have beginner, intermediate, maybe it might have advanced anyway, but it's either you can do it or you cannot do it. You can't say you know how to do financial modeling basic way, or I know how to do it this way or that way. It is in the end, you must be able to do a financial projection. The balance sheet must balance. The things are undisputable. What's the word now? You can't say you do your own balance sheet did not balance because you know basic financial modeling. So not to take away time, I will try. I'm looking for it. I can't find it on time, but I will share some of our mock exams. It's a real company, and since we are Nigerians, the one I will share is even Dangote Refinery. So you can try your hand on them. We'll see which of our free resources so I can share. So for us, we have always taken that practical approach, where you are building, because we consult, and in our consulting jobs, the truth is, when we train to, we tell you that it is so that you too can be able to take up such kind of jobs, because the truth is not everybody has the opportunity to practice at their work. So the ability for you to tell your friends who run companies, ability for you to tell people in your network, especially small businesses, that you can help them with their financial model and use that for the real life practice is immense. So I will share the ones I can grab. It might not come before the end of the session, but you will see it in the chat too, even if the session ends. I'll try and gather as many of those links and mock practice.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Over to look. I think we are almost at the end, right?
Yes. So we are almost rounding up, or we are even rounding up now. So thank you once again, Wilson, for the session. Thank you, Michael, for the answers to all the questions. So
You're welcome.
thank you. So this will be the end of this session for now. We have another session coming up by 4 p.m. on Power BI. If you have interest in that, so you could also join. So I guess we are done for now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson. It's been a pleasure. To everyone who has joined, thank you. The recording will be available tomorrow, and Mr. Wilson will send you our small thank you also this week. I want to say it's been a wonderful session, and the knowledge here is amazing. So I'm going to end the session and recording now. Thank you to everyone. Have a wonderful week ahead.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes.
I appreciate. Thank you. God bless you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.